Welcome to a very special edition of New Day Cleveland. I'm David Moss at Playhouse Square, and we're going to give you your first look at the 2020-2021 Key Bank Broadway series right here at Playhouse Square. 7 great shows coming your way. And the first, well, it's adapted from a book you may have read in school. It's To Kill a Mockingbird.
What I love so much about To Kill a Mockingbird is I actually asked to read a copy of the script before I saw the show, because I wanted to see what Aaron Sorkin had done. And when I read the script, I so appreciated how smart he is about how he took these enduring characters, Atticus Finch, like one of the greatest heroes of all times, and Calpurnia, and infused a little bit of contemporary language throughout their dialogue that gives them a different kind of relationship than what we have known before. And the way that it is told, that it is so relevant. I didn't at all feel as though I was seeing a chestnut that someone had dusted off. Rather, I felt that I was seeing a contemporary play about today, that's as meaningful today as it was when Harper Lee originally penned the original book, you know, so many years ago. It's a beloved play. Of course, many people would say this is a master class in tolerance, a master class in humanity. And what I want our audiences to do in Cleveland is to make sure you allow enough airtime in your life that after you see To Kill a Mockingbird, you'll want to just sit back and take it in and have a conversation with your friends, with strangers, because it really has so much to say. Now, what was really terrific is recently David Green from Playhouse Square was in New York and had a chance to catch up with Richard Thomas, who is going to be in that wonderful role of Atticus Finch when it comes to Cleveland, Ohio.
We were so thrilled to learn that you will be playing the role of Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird on tour.
Well, I'm very thrilled to be doing it. Aaron Sorkin has done an extraordinary job. I mean, he's created a beautiful text for this adaptation, and you know, we remember the novel, we remember the film, but a novel's a novel, a film is a film, and a play is a play, and the demands of a play text are completely different from the demands of a screenplay or obviously of a piece of fiction, prose fiction. So what he's given us is not just a sort of transcription of the film or the novel. He's given us a play that stands as a piece of theater on its own feet, which is really important. And that means that there has to be great talk in the play, in the piece, on stage, to engage the audience in the ideas that are in play, in the humanity of the story. And he's given us a fantastic text for the stage, specifically for the stage. What Aaron Sorkin has done is he has pulled many issues that are latent in the text of the novel and in the screenplay, and brought them forward in a way that a contemporary audience can examine them. He's pulled these things forward in ways that speak to us and how we think about these themes of justice and race and culture. You know, who we are as a people. That will make it not only resonant for those of us who love and care for the piece as a piece of classical, you know, American culture, but also who want to be re-engaged with this subject according to the life that we're living now and the world we're living in. So he's done an extraordinary job of giving us To Kill a Mockingbird through the lens the lens in which we live today.
Well, we're talking about all of these fabulous shows here, and let me tell you, it also is about you. Did you know that you could have your own wedding here in the Theater District? We are at the Crowne Plaza, the official hotel of Playhouse Square, and I have Danielle joining me. She will be your wedding specialist, anything you need. You're like the fairy godmother for the wedding day, right?
Yes.
This is a spectacular room here at the Crowne Plaza. The views, you see the chandelier right behind you.
The view is amazing. It's the best thing about our space.
The chandelier is right outside, and it's the perfect backdrop for wedding ceremonies, wedding receptions, and it really just keeps your guests talking about how amazing everything is here.
Well, I'm guessing that is what adds to why you have received recognition over the last few years for your venue.
We have, yes. We've received so many amazing reviews from our couples, from their families. We just won the Knot Award Best of Weddings for winning so many years in a row. The reviews just keep pouring in. Everyone just can't stop saying so many amazing things about the hotel, the venue, and the amazing service here at the Crowne Plaza.
Well, I see that you have 2 tables set for us, so clearly when it comes to customization, you can do a variety of things.
We can, so no request is too big or too small. Whether you're looking for something really over the top or something elegant, anything in between, we have obviously a lot of different options to meet everyone's needs.
How many people can you fit in the space?
We can fit up to 250 wedding guests in the ballroom with enough space still for a dance floor, DJ, band, and everything else that you need to make the day special.
Well, and with your partnership with Playhouse Square, I think there's something that's really exciting and sweet that you are able to do for your bride and groom, and it has to do with something that's outside, right, in the plaza?
It is, yeah. So this is really exciting, something completely unique to our venue. So couples on their wedding day get to have their photo, either their engagement picture or any picture they choose, up in the big lights right outside on the digital reader board in US Bank Plaza for all of their guests and family to see when they arrive to the hotel.
Well, because you're the stars of the show that day, so it all makes sense,
exactly, right?
What else do you think about this space that really makes it unique? I mean, clearly you're winning award after award here, so there's a lot that you have to offer.
There is. We are just right in the heart of Playhouse Square Theater District. Right outside is just the energy of downtown. Having the windows right outside in the backdrop is just so pretty, and it really helps your guests appreciate being in the heart of downtown and kind of feeling the energy and the vibrance of the district.
Well, and they have you from the very first phone call that they make to the end. I mean, you are there consistently from start to finish to help them through this.
Yes, so I'm the wedding specialist. I specialize in everything here at the hotel. So like you said, from the first phone call through the tasting, the planning, all of the details, meeting family, up until the farewell brunch the next morning. I'm the person there that's hands-on, making sure everything really runs flawlessly.
Well, I know you can do it all, but I have a feeling there might be one thing you can't do, and that would be all the cooking.
Right.
But we have someone who will help us do that, right?
We do, yes. Our executive chef, Jacob, is so talented. He's great with our couples, and again, any request or special, type of cuisine that a family might want, he is absolutely ready to meet all of their needs.
Well, I think I should get down to that kitchen and see some of the options. I found the kitchen. It is hot in here. I have Chef Jacob already hard at work. He's making salmon that looks spectacular. How are you?
Wonderful, how are you?
Thanks for having us back here. So you're making up a salmon dish.
I am.
And your salmon here is, well, there's no other way to put it. It's really top-notch, best of the best there is, right?
It is. It's the top 0.5% of salmon in the world. It's Ora King, farmed in the lowest density open pens in New Zealand. It's the very best salmon. I like to call it the Wagyu of the salmon world.
I love that. This dish looks fabulous. I'm gonna let you plate this up.
Get a nice sear on our Brussels sprouts.
So here's the finished product, but hands off, this one's all mine. This is not part of the wedding list, right? You could potentially make this for a wedding evening,
Absolutely.
right?
I offer full customization on any package. I sit down with a client, wedding planner, and we can figure out something totally unique to them.
So here's what he made for you for today. 3 different dishes, all different, all stunning. I'll start with this one.
We have a goat cheese stuffed chicken, Parmesan herb risotto, and roasted Brussels sprouts.
Yummy.
Up front, we have a prime strip steak topped with Maldon salt, and I also grilled it with a coffee crust. It offers a really deep flavor you don't get with just traditional grilling methods. Asparagus, truffle mashers, house-made demi. Next over, we have a seared salmon over broccolini with a butternut squash puree and chive oil. And these are all features of our wedding menu. Our wedding food is the same quality as you would get in our a la carte restaurant.
That's the attention to detail, as I mentioned, as a chef in a restaurant that is truly great. So if you can't come here for your wedding, or you come here for your wedding, and then you just want to come any other day, you can always do that too. You can come visit them at the restaurant here at the Ghost Light Restaurant and Lounge.
Absolutely.
And he'll take good care of you 365 days a year. Well, we have to let him take a few days off.
Yeah,
We'll cut that back a little bit, but.
All right, yeah.
It's time to dig in.
Still to come, a day of theater for the entire family. Welcome back to New Day Cleveland, and it's our first look at the 2020-2021 KeyBank Broadway series. Our second show, well, it's one of those shows that may make you fall in love all over again. Pretty Woman.
Welcome to Hollywood!
Jerry Mitchell has converted so many movies to the stage. You know, he brought Legally Blonde. He most recently brought Kinky Boots to the stage, and he just has such a wonderful way to dig into characters that we know and bring a new spirit and a new sense of life to them. So in the instance of Pretty Woman, what we learn is we see those characters who we know, they're misguided characters. Both Vivian and Edward are living lives where one can hardly make the rent, and one actually lives in a big house but an empty house in so many ways. And so you can say it's like a Cinderella or a Cinderfella story, because they both end up being saved. So it is a story that takes us back to a very familiar place, to a story that we know, to a story that is about misperceptions, how people around you might make judgments based on how you're dressed. It's very interesting in this story, by the way, to follow Vivian's dress and her style of dress throughout, because as she becomes someone new and as she then moves into this life with Edward, that other people start out picking out her outfits for her until ultimately she's choosing her own. And when she actually chooses her own, you see that she is in that beautiful, stunning red gown. And that actually is so symbolic of her emerging as a woman, emerging as herself, finding love. That dress symbolizes everything about the emerging emotion, the true emotion between those two stars.
It is no secret there are so many exciting shows happening this upcoming season of Playhouse Square, but there is one day for the entire family that I think is a must-stop here, and that is May 2nd. Daniel Hahn joining me right now. This is exciting news.
We're really thrilled to be presenting Family Theater Day on Saturday, May 2nd. It's a wonderful day for the whole family to come together and experience the joy of theater.
So it's not just performances like you would see in musical theater. There is going to be music. There's going to be free activities going on. There's so much happening, and it takes over really Playhouse Square, right?
It really does. We have shows in 3 theaters going on throughout the whole day. Some of them are staggered, so you could actually see more than one if you want to. And the live music, there's face painting, there's caricature artists, a lot of free activities, so everyone can have something.
Let's delve into some of those shows that are taking place. So there's 3 of them. Let's start with the first one.
The first one is Earth's Prehistoric Aquarium. There's this wonderful Australian company called Earth. And what they're doing is taking you back to prehistoric times at the bottom of the ocean, so that these kids are seeing a magical spectacle puppet show with live action and original music all happening. And they're actually learning about paleontology with these puppets and these actors and these artists. It is truly, truly a stunning spectacle.
That is going to be a show to see. And then, if you just take a few more steps to another theater, you find another great show.
Well, if you come back here to the Mimi, Ohio Theater, where we're at right now, you're going to see Peter Rabbit Tales. You know, Beatrix Potter's stories have enchanted families and children for over 100 years. And this story by Enchantment Theater Company, they have wonderful masks, and because the actors are playing the little rabbits, they scale the show. So the scenery is stunning. And when Mr. McGregor sort of pops his head over the garden fence because the rabbits are one side, it's a giant puppet with a beard, and it is just so playful and originally done. We think the kids are going to love that one.
So these shows are coming from all over the world. You have one from South Korea, too.
We do. Yao Yao is going to be in our smallest Westfield Studio Theater at the Idea Center. That show blew me away when I saw it in Philadelphia a couple of years ago. It's about a young girl in preschool who doesn't want her daddy to leave to go to work. And if you ever had a preschooler, you know that sometimes their agenda and your agenda might not quite align. So she pulls on her dad's coat and a little string or piece of yarn comes free, and then he goes out the door. The rest of the show is her imaginative play with that yarn, but it's told with projection and live music and action and this just deceptively simple set, which looks like a sheet just thrown over a frame, becomes an incredible world of curiosity and imagination. It's one of the best shows I've seen.
Wow. And then the musical performances, 2 different ones. Are they in the theaters too?
Well, they are. We have one in the Gun Dance Studio called Yoga Palooza, and this is with Barry Coral. This is the woman who almost single-handedly was the pioneer of kids yoga.
Skip, skip, skip to my loo, my darling.
She teaches kids different yoga poses during her songs and her performances. So they're actually learning authentic yoga and doing it in the studio while she's playing the music. It's really thrilling.
And there's a second one.
There is. This is really exciting too. This is Jazzy Ash and the Leapin' Lizards. She's a New Orleans jazz musician.
How cool.
And her band is actually coming to the Upper Allen theatrical space where we do a lot of our Broadway Buzz pre-show talks. And she is going to do a ukulele, sort of a ukulele petting zoo, where the kids, the first 100 that get tickets to the show, will be given a free ukulele. She's going to teach them chords and music, and they're going to play along during this entire performance. And this whole day, really, thanks to University Hospitals, Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital, can be affordable, fun, free activities, something literally for anyone in the family.
I just think this is going to be a spectacular day here at Playhouse Square for the whole family to enjoy.
Well, we're making some special memories.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thanks, Natalie.
When we return, a special performance featuring Disney favorites. Welcome back. Hey, get ready to dance and maybe even sing. Our third show for the 2020-2021 KeyBank Broadway series takes us back to the early life and music of Cher.
If I could turn back time, if I could find a way.
Audiences are going to be so surprised when they see the Cher Show, because like so many of those sparkling, bigger-than-life concert performers that we think we know, you'll now learn about her journey and who is the woman behind those sparkling Bob Mackie costumes. We see that Cher really has been a groundbreaking, powerful, influential woman in show business for the last 6 decades. She's had a remarkable career. You learn about how hard she worked. You learn about how close to the edge they came as an act. You learn about how they all reinvented it. And then you also learned that Cher owned none of it. Cher Inc. was owned 95% by Sonny and 5% by their attorney. She owned 0.
I got you, babe. I got you, babe.
This is a story about never giving up on yourself. Keep going, keep pushing, keep reinventing yourself. Don't let others hold you back. And you hear that story, you hear about her struggle, you hear about her renaissance over and over and over again. And that is what's happening inside of her is so different from what we see in those fantastic, ultra outrageous Bob Mackie costumes, which of course are going to be in this show. Now you're going to hear the greatest hits from Sonny and Cher. You're going to hear the greatest hits from Cher as she went on into her solo career. And mostly you're going to walk out of there going, wow, what a woman.
Do you believe in life after love? You haven't seen the last of me.
Well, when it comes to great Broadway musicals, Daniel, I am happy to say in this case, we don't have to let the idea go of bringing a wonderful show here that is sensory friendly for children of all walks of life to come and enjoy. I'm talking about, of course, Frozen, the musical.
We're so pleased to bring Disney's Frozen to Playhouse Square, and especially to have this one special performance on August 15th in the afternoon that welcomes anyone who has any sensory need. Anyone really of all ages is welcome to this show.
This is an initiative that you've had going on for well over a decade now, correct?
Yes, so actually around 2013 we launched this. We've done, now this will be 13 sensory-friendly performances, but just our second Broadway one.
And last year was The Lion King. That was spectacular. And I can only imagine that the growth in the population of people that want to come in here and see this it's going to be astronomical.
Really, you know, as a nonprofit, it's just so important for Playhouse Square to serve our community, and nothing really does that with the same impact as a sensory-friendly show. When you're welcoming anyone in the theater who has any special needs. For example, you know, when you walk into the back of the theater, the first thing that you'll notice is that the doors of the theater will remain open during the show. The house lights that are on now will just be slightly dim. They'll remain lit during the show. Some of the volume levels will be adjusted so it won't be too loud. We'll be providing free hearing protection for anyone who might need it, those headphones. We have volunteers throughout the whole theater, really the whole complex that day. So from the moment you come into the parking garage and walk through our walkway, you're going to have an amazing experience. And we must thank Denise and Norman Wells, who sponsor all of the sensory-friendly work here at Playhouse Square. Over 7,000 people now in our community have had this experience. We're just truly grateful.
When you see the response, I can't imagine how heartwarming that is. And to know that an organization like this is really working to make sure every child feels accepted in this environment. It's such a beautiful thing. So thank you all for what you do here. I think it's spectacular. And again, August 15th, so jump on those tickets right away.
Go to the website, playhousesquare.org.
I have a feeling they're going to go fast. Let it go, let it go.
Still ahead, a very important piece of every performance at Playhouse Square, red coats. Welcome back to New Day Cleveland. 3 shows down and 4 to go, and our next show is a musical comedy. It's called The Prom.
Build a prom for everyone, show them all it can be done.
Who doesn't remember going to their senior prom and what it meant to you, right? It's your coming of age. It's the time when you have some level of independence. It's the time when the rules somehow don't apply. Yet, in this story, the rules are applied in ways that don't seem to really work. So this is really based on a story that took place right here in the middle of America, where a young girl wanted to take her girlfriend to her senior prom. And it caused an uproar in the school. The leadership of the school said you couldn't have prom. Prom was canceled. And in the telling of this musical, then there are these fading Broadway stars who are looking for their next hurrah and looking to be activists on some cause. And they hear about this story and decide they're going to leave Broadway and go save Middle America. In other words, all of us. And what is so wonderful is you find out they don't really know what they're in for, and everything they think they're going to fix, the opposite happens. And at the end of the day with all of this, it is Casey Nicola, who is such a fabulous director. We know his work here with Something Rotten, Book of Mormon. He tells story through dance like few can, and he has such a sense of joy, such a sense of power, such a sense of unity that is told through how he literally makes the story move. He is the director and choreographer for The Prom. However, you see that movements are not about groups, they're really about individuals. And it's about individual respect, it's about individual love. And once everyone comes to that conclusion, you see how they actually rise to the highest part of celebration that any prom could possibly be.
No matter which show you come to watch here at Playhouse Square, there's one thing that is always a guarantee, and that is the famous volunteers in red coats. Our red coats that we love so much, and I have Gina here who is the manager of all of our fabulous red coats. How many do you have?
We have just over 2,000 right now.
That's a lot of folks.
It is.
Who come, and I think it's spectacular because they are volunteering their time to be here.
That's correct, yeah. I am continually amazed at volunteers who are here multiple days a week and just really giving their time and love Playhouse Square.
Now, what all does their duties entail?
Redcoats provide support for all of our front of house staff, so they do all of our ticketing, scanning tickets, offering wheelchair escorts to people who are coming and need help with that. They offer directional help, they seat all of our guests, so they do basically all of our front of house tasks.
And I'll tell you what, they always do it with a smile on their face.
They do.
They are such a wonderful bunch. I know personally, I've just seen the way they interact with people. I appreciate them so much being here, and I'm sure that when you have people coming in who are just viewing the shows, that they probably give you that same kind of feedback.
Yeah, we hear continuously about how Redcoats have been sort of that, you know, people's first experience with the theater, and they have a Redcoat who's smiling and helpful to them. We certainly appreciate them here. We couldn't do it without them, but we hear that from the guests as well.
I heard too that they're still red, but they have some new coats.
That is correct. We're so thankful the Reinberger Foundation provided us with new blazers for all of our red coats, which has just been a great thing for our program, both to create a uniform look for everyone and also to remove that barrier to entry for people who want to volunteer.
Is there a time commitment? Well, how does that work if someone is thinking about doing so?
Yeah, we usually recommend that people are here twice a month. It's about a 5-hour commitment. They're here about 90 minutes before the show until the show ends. And we're looking for people on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays right now. So we have lots of new volunteers starting, and we do orientations periodically. We're happy to have anyone come in.
Now, what's the easiest way for someone to say, hey, you know what? I want to be a volunteer. I want to get started right away. What do they do?
Yeah, if they go to our website, playhousesquare.org, we're under the giving section, and there's a part about volunteering that explains the program, a short video, and also has an application for them to fill out.
I know, I jokingly said before, they always have a smile on their face. There's got to be some vetting going on because every single one of them is just so incredibly kind. And you know, people are rushing to get into their seats at times, or you might have a guest coming in who's not there, and they are so sweet to every single person that walks through here. They make the experience, I think, even that much better.
Yeah, I'm really appreciative. They're so kind and welcoming to everybody, and really kind of looking out to make sure that every guest is treated as someone special. And the Redcoats are really a special group here, and they love what they do, and we're really thankful for them.
Well, if you are a lover of theater, and maybe you've just even retired recently and you think, I want to still do something, this would be the perfect way to get involved.
We'd love to have them.
I love it. More red coats, the more the merrier.
You will be rushing back to your seat to see the 5th show of the 2020-2021 KeyBank Broadway series. It's the life and times of The Temptations. Ain't Too Proud.
I know you wanna leave me, but I refuse to let you go. If I have to beg, plead for your sympathy, I don't mind.
Cleveland is going to move in a whole exciting way when Ain't Too Proud comes to Playhouse Square. This is the story of the Temptations, literally their story from singing on the streets of Detroit to the top of the charts. And what a journey it has been. My Girl, Papa Was a Rolling Stone.
It was just my imagination, running away with me.
All of the great hits that you know that the Temptations have brought into our lives are featured in this show. But what else is featured is the struggle to get to the top of the charts. What it meant to have this group of these 5 talented African-American men at a time where there were not many opportunities and you had to literally blaze the trail. It is a fantastic story, and it is told through Des McAnuff, who is the director, and Sergio Trujillo, who is the choreographer. And we know their work so well. Jersey Boys was just here, and it has that same vibe, that same continual sense of storytelling and movement that will just sweep you away. just like Jersey Boys featured all of that music. One of the best stories I heard is when you walk in the door, you can be a grandmother of 3 and you walk out the door and you're 16 years old again. That's the power of music. That's the power of Ain't Too Proud.
When we return, we're going backstage to learn the secrets of Moulin Rouge. Welcome back to New Day Cleveland, our first look at the 2020-2021 KeyBank Broadway series. And our next show invites you to spend an evening at the Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge, of course, based on Baz Luhrmann's movie, is different than what you think you're going to see. The story is still there, but when I walked in the door, I was immediately struck by the opulence. I felt like I had walked into another world. And then the story begins. And it is, you see these fantastic costumes that Catherine Zuber, and oh my heavens, are they sexy costumes? And it's about this decadent Parisian life, this bohemian life, that of course is always striving for more. But at the same time, while it is telling you that story of someone who is at one level wanting to take their life to a different place, it takes you to a place that's so familiar to you because of all of the music that you absolutely know throughout this musical. It is great fun. It's a wonderful event. You will want to leave time for the red wine and the pâté afterwards as the perfect top for your trip to Paris.
If not for love.
Well, Clevelanders, here's something really special for you. Moulin Rouge is going to be with us for 5 weeks, 40 performances. We are one of the very first cities and one of the longest runs anywhere in the country to get this great taste of Moulin Rouge. So come and enjoy it, Cleveland, because it's all yours. Well, you know, the best way to learn more about Moulin Rouge is to really know it from the inside out. And recently, we were in New York City to have the chance to go backstage and hear firsthand about the great designs that went into making this show so special.
We're in the ladies' chorus, quick change dressing room. And what we have with us are the can-can outfits composed of a corset and a can-can skirt. And all the skirts have these multi-colors underneath. And they're a little bit less traditional than a classic can-can in that we had to stitch the ruffles down because our can-can moves are quite unusual, and people do moves that normally aren't done in a can-can skirt. And what they all have in common is they're all trimmed in black lace with beading, just to give them a connection to each other, but each can-can outfit is unique. We have 10 or 12 dressers, and they come in before the show. Everyone has to kind of go over things, make sure nothing's about to tear, because if there is a hole, it can get much worse if it's not repaired. So everything is looked after quite carefully on a daily basis to make sure that everything is in the condition that it should be. What we have here is a costume. If you blink, you'll miss it. It's on for perhaps 5 seconds at the top of the show, but it does create an amazing silhouette. This is one of our Lady M's, and there's 4 Lady M's. Each of these corsets for all the ladies in the show are unique and have to be made specifically for each body. One of my favorites is right here. This is what Satine wears in her first entrance in the swing. And she has another surprise costume underneath this one. It's rigged for a quick change. What we do is, it's a sleight of hand. We have our gentlemen dancers are around Satine, and then they just pull this and the costume comes away. And then underneath she has another costume. The thing about Moulin Rouge, within the first 20 minutes of the show, our ensemble is changing costumes constantly. So everything has to be rigged for a quick change. So one of our challenges is that the costumes look attractive, look authentic, but they have to be removed within a second and put on another costume, maybe with 2 seconds. And sometimes what's happening backstage is almost as interesting as what's happening on stage, with all the clothes flying and the dressers taking things on and off. And it's quite a skilled organization of the backstage crew to sort of make sure that it all functions seamlessly.
Gina, it's great. It's like being at the White House here. We're in the President's Club out in front of the State Theater, and you've got a new title, don't you?
I do.
President and?
CEO at Playhouse Square. What an honor.
Yeah, what about, when you first came here, thinking about what the journey would be like, what you were trying to accomplish, this was never on the shelf for you, like?
I was ambitious. I'm still ambitious, but this is the 8th position I've had at Playhouse Square in my 35 years here. So it's really been wonderful to be a part of the journey, to see how the organization has grown. We had ambitious and great dreams when I arrived in '84, and what we've achieved has so far exceeded what we even thought was possible then. It's really been wonderful to watch about what the arts can do for a city.
Talk about pushing the ball uphill. I mean, that's what it was. It was a struggle for a long time to get things going. And talking about making the contribution to the city, you know, we've got the chandelier out there now. You've turned Playhouse Square into, well, now it's a neighborhood.
Well, and that was, thank you for saying that, because that was exactly our goal. Because before all of what we have going outside, you could drive through Playhouse Square and actually not even know if you had arrived or left. So the goal was to really put up the gateways, to put that GE chandelier right at the centerpiece, you know, to create this opportunity. People are out there taking wedding photos, taking pictures, talking to strangers. It does exactly what public art is supposed to do, which is make people talk to each other.
You guys did the right thing. I was reading that this was, in the beginning, the 2nd largest theater district in America outside of New York. It still is, and now is once again, thanks to you guys, that's incredible.
Well, it's thanks to Cleveland, because you're nothing without an audience. And what we prove year in and year out is that Cleveland has the best audiences absolutely in the country. We have the largest subscriber base for the KeyBank Broadway series anywhere in the country, pulling up on 49,000. I mean, it's incredible, the engagement that's in this community.
They say Cleveland has the best fans. It has the best fans of everything.
Yes.
And you know, we talk about all these things, and now we look outside and now we see the sky's the limit.
It sure is.
The Lumen.
The Lumen. Isn't that a great story?
It's a great name.
It is, because it glows from the inside out, which is exactly what Playhouse Square has done over the years for the community. But it sits right across the street. It is 35 stories high. And to me, it's a great story about the power of the arts. Of course, it's right here at Playhouse Square, but we have a great cultural community in Northeast Ohio. But just to demonstrate how your dreams can become realities and how you have to constantly work at it, not give up, that has been a story and a project that has been long a dream for us at Playhouse Square, and now to finally see it become a reality, and to think that we are going to this summer begin to welcome residents to Playhouse Square is just fantastic.
I remember we started talking over at the Hannah, you know, and it's like, you know, you go to New York City, you go to Soho, you see all these great neighborhoods, you go like, boy, I wish we had a great neighborhood like that. And boy, we do have a great neighborhood like that now, and it can grow right around the Lumen.
Absolutely, and you know what, there's more to come, because we really have visions for what we want to do to this area. So it's a place that you will want to come, not just to see any of the great performances at Playhouse Square, but also just to come and people watch, have dinner, look around, sit on many of the pretty patios that we're going to be installing this summer. It's really the place that Cleveland has built, and it's just so much fun to see it actually happen.
Let's get those season ticket holders out there, huh?
Absolutely, absolutely. And just think, next year when we do this interview, you could actually walk across the street from your apartment to be here at the Lumen, right?
That would be fantastic.
It would be.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Always good to see you.
You're beautiful.
Thank you. Right back at you.
After the break, the final show of the KeyBank Broadway series. Welcome back to New Day Cleveland. We're going to wrap up our first look at the 2020-2021 KeyBank Broadway series with a show that brings Greek mythology to the stage.
Let's talk about Hadestown, the musical that swept the Tony Awards, winning 8 Tony Awards this past year. It is a story that is so interesting, but Clevelanders, you have a homework assignment because it would be really helpful to be familiar with the Greek myths that this story, that Hadestown, is based on. So read a little bit about Orpheus and Eurydice, and read a little bit about Persephone and King Hades, because that's going to give you the background upon which this story is told. What's so interesting to me about this is that it began as a concept album. It didn't become a Broadway show until much later. So unlike most Broadway shows, which are actually composed on a keyboard, Hadestown is composed on a guitar. And because of that, you will find that it has such a different kind of sound, a rich sound, a sound that seems to have no bounds, either on the high end or the low end. It really explores these parts of our brain, these parts of our soul, in such a beautiful way.
I wanna hold you close. I don't wanna ever have to let you go.
Hadestown is really a story that is about love. It's about the falls that we make as human beings, the mistakes that we make as human beings, and then just like an agricultural cycle, spring comes and it's a chance for rejuvenation. So you will find that this story will bring you in a mysterious way because the music has this wonderful blend of jazz and blues and a New Orleans kind of sound that will just take you somewhere that you didn't know that you needed to go. That could be to hell and back.
I'm coming.
And there you have it, our first look at the 2020-2021 KeyBank Broadway series. You don't want to miss out on this one, folks, so make sure you become a season ticket holder. Individual tickets don't go on sale till later this year. I'm David Moss. On behalf of Natalie Herbeck, we'll see you on the next New Day Cleveland.